Welcome to another edition of Dream Firms Spotlight. My name is Tyler S. Clark, co-founder of Dream Firms, where we create generational wealth and impact for entrepreneurial accountants by systemizing how they attract, win, and retain the business of their dream clients. And to help you to do that, I'd like to share with you why blogging fails entrepreneurial accountants, and more importantly, what the heck are you going to do about it? So blogging is the idea, of course, that you take content and you put it on the internet with the hopes that really two things happen. One, that you are seen as a higher level of expert because you're willing to share your expertise. And two, that you are blessed by the algorithm of Google and thereby anointed with a first page ranking. However, there are a lot of problems with both of these propositions. And I'd like to start with the first one, and that being the whole expert status that comes along from blogging and why that does not necessarily translate. And so if you think about it, think about the Venn diagram of the typical entrepreneurial accountant. This is their accounting skill set, right? And then this is the writing skill set over here, blogging, being able to write successfully. And these things have like no overlap. I mean, maybe there's a tiny, tiny bit of overlap between the entrepreneurial accountant and being a successful writer, but that's very, very rare. And so what you're hoping to be able to do is take a very complex topic that's typically only read about by this Venn diagram, right? By other accounting professionals. And then you need to be able to take this skill that is hard to develop and normally not typically one that is hosted by the entrepreneurial accountant, not one that they have. And then you've got to find a way to blend these two things together and be able to distribute it online. So the first part is the skill of writing is not one that is typically held by the entrepreneurial accountant. Okay, but let's go ahead and say that that was true. Let's go ahead and say that you were in fact a gifted writer while still being gifted in the field of accounting. Herein lies the second problem: time. There is a reason that the internet is oftentimes referred to as a graveyard of dead blogs, because people start with a really high level of ambition. They go, I'm going to start writing, I'll get some advertising revenue, or people will start to see me as an expert. And then they realize how much time it takes to be able to write the content. And then on top of that, have all of the corresponding expertise necessary for the magic black box algorithm of Google to anoint you and bless you with a first page ranking. And so there's this kind of curve, right? Where it's like, I'm super excited. I can do this. I can write an article. I wrote an article and then I publish it. And it's like, there's no result. And it's like, well, maybe I can just write one more. And it's like, but this is really time consuming. And the next thing isn't, it's a little harder for me to write about. And then all of a sudden we completely stop and abandon it because it's really not a great use of your time, to be perfectly honest. Even if you were a good writer, it's hard to find the time to do it when you're running an accounting firm. But here's the other aspect of this, is that many of you realize this and you said, oh, you know what? I'm not a gifted writer, but I know that I need to have a blog. I need to be able to find a way to get on the first page of Google. And so what you did is you said, well, I will go to an expert that will be able to create a blog for me. But again, the problem remains is writers don't know anything about accounting. So if you try and go to a third-party source to get content written on your behalf, they don't really know what the heck they're writing about. And so you don't feel very comfortable sharing that and putting your brand out on it. So that's almost already out of commission. So then you're left with the final option, which the vast majority of you have taken and have spent lots of money on for very little return, which is you go to a big website provider who says, we will take care of your blog for you. And they say, we'll take care of it, we'll update it, and you go, great, I'm checking the box, and hopefully I get blessed by Google. But you really don't. And what ends up happening is these blogs, they don't really do anything. If anything, they just make your website significantly more complicated. Your dream clients aren't going to read them because they're usually not even well written enough that you would like to read them. And so you're left with this inauthentic feeling on your website. You're left with you're left with something that is not producing a result, but is costing you money. And here's another way of thinking about this. a lot of people, when they consult with us, they're very concerned about price compression. They're very concerned that their value is not being appreciated and invested at a premium level. Their prices are low. And I simply ask them, I go, well, why do you think that's happening? Like, what is the root cause of this? And normally there isn't a very good answer, but the answer of why price compression happens and why commoditization happens has everything to do with the market cannot fundamentally tell you apart from your competition. You are a white t-shirt, they are a white t-shirt, you are identical, they pick the cheapest white t-shirt. That's what happens all the time. And so the way that you create this separation or this difference starts with, yes, your marketing message. And so if you're using these copy-paste blogs, in other words, if you're using CPA Site Solutions or any of the major accounting website providers, what they're doing is they're copy pasting blogs across all of their websites. And if you would like a tip or a little hack to prove if this is true or not, take one sentence from your blog and put quotes around it and put it into Google. And then look at how many search results come up with that same exact sentence and that same exact blog article. There'll be hundreds of them. And so if you're wondering, again, why blogging fails, it's not just because it's hard for you to do yourself. It's not just because it's hard to find someone to do it on your behalf. And it's not just because it's hard to find a mega company to do it for you, to check the box that can do it in an ethical way. It's hard because being able to create content for the entrepreneurial accountant is not easy. It's a complex topic and it's hard to distill that knowledge in a digestible way. But when you work on that skill, when you fine hone your ability to do just that, that is the expression of value. And so if you are wondering how to be able to do that, if you're wondering how you can get better at that skill significantly faster, I'm here to tell you there's an easy way. And an easy way to do that is join the 3-day Practice Igniter Challenge and get access to our content planning, production, and syndication guide. And when you get access to that, you'll have the entire process. And for those of you that are like, come on, Tyler, I don't want to spend $67 to radically change my life and my firm. That's absolute, I just can't do that. That's fine. I'll give you the answer right now. Here's the way it works. This is exactly what I'm talking about, okay? If you want the shortcut to being able to express your expertise, fine hone the skill, and have content that you can then syndicate as an authentic blog because it's coming from your voice and you're able to express complex topics in an easy to digest way because you're constantly practicing it week over week and you don't have an opportunity to paralysis by analysis, overanalyze your content because you're live like I am. Like I could never do a pre-recorded thing. I would just second guess myself a million times, be like, no, the sound's wrong. I stumbled there, right? I just did it right there. And then what happens is you take that piece of content, you give it to a gifted writer who can take your voice and turn it into written format. And then you have authenticity. And as a service professional, as someone who is looking to find premium people to invest in, to help me to accelerate my company, I'm always looking for authentic, and copy-paste blogs are inauthentic. A blog that was started and not updated for several months or years is inauthentic. It means you start things and you can't see them through. You don't have the process or the system to be able to push them through. And so when I see that, am I thinking that you're going to be able to do a great job with my accounting, bookkeeping, CFO level services, tax planning? Probably not. You lost trust where it would be so easy to allocate 11 minutes as of right now per week with the right system behind you to build trust, build authenticity, and do blogging or content the right way. And so if you want to do that, get started with us. No nonsense about it. You want to accelerate your expert status. You ultimately want to be seen as one of the top advisors in the accounting space. You can either buy twice or you can buy nice. And if you want to buy nice, come work with dream firms. So that is today's Dream Firm Spotlight. I hope you have a complete understanding of why blogging fails, will continue to fail unless you embrace the skills as outlined as a part of today's lesson. And never forget that only you can create your dream firm, but we are here to help you every single step of the way. Have a fantastic rest of your work week and go embrace a little bit of content production and see what happens, but do it a smart way. Have a great day. See you.